Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Tim Wagon in the basement of the Avalon Theater MCTV Channel 15 studios. And today, if you watch the channel, you'll know that this is a lot of people up on the set for us today. But we're talking about a very important subject and a event that is coming up, sponsored by Talbot Hospice. And we have representatives from Talbot Hospice here. Susan, Michael, Jody, and Lisa are here to talk about. Susan, tell us about hospice first of all.
All right, well,
how is hospice doing? It's very prevalent in the area. You guys do a lot of events, and you always seem to be visible all throughout the year at certain times. How are things going and that sort of thing?
Things are going great. We take care of patients in their homes, in nursing facilities, and in our own hospice house on Sinwood Drive. And we are celebrating our 35th anniversary this year. We were founded in 1981. And we are so grateful to Talbot County, our community, for supporting us all these years and for being committed to us. So we decided that we would give a gift to the community on the occasion of our anniversary.
Okay, great.
So that gift is an initiative called Talbot Conversations, Make Your End-of-Life Wishes Known. And it's our goal to educate the community and to get every adult in Talbot County to complete an advance directive by the end of this year and to have a conversation with a loved one about what their end-of-life wishes are. And what we will do is help people understand how to do those things.
Right. Okay, so just real quick, Susan, what's your position at Talbot Hospice again?
I'm the president of the board.
President of the board. And Michael?
Medical director.
Medical director. Jody? You?
Chaplain.
Chaplain. And Lisa?
Family services.
Okay, family services. So I want to talk about the event and what you guys have going on, but I'm really interested in, as preparing to come into even the interview today, I'm turning 50 in a couple days, so I can certainly start talking about end-of-life issues. At 32, it was not on my brain at all. I'm sure, but it is very interesting what becomes important to you as you gain age. You guys have any opinions on that? I mean, it's not an easy subject to really talk about. I mean, or is it? Lisa, you have anything?
The important thing to know is that anyone who's an adult, so 18 and above, really would benefit from having an advance directive so that in an accident or an emergency, everyone knows what we want regardless of how young we are.
And Jody, in terms of a chaplain, how does this relate to, I know you're going out to the churches, you're trying to get doing a church initiative, but in terms of faith, why is the end-of-life decision sort of important?
Well, it is a very difficult question, I mean, a conversation to have, but it's really important for people of faith. That would be why we're doing the faith initiative, to have that conversation as well. And for some reason, we're finding that is the real need in the faith community as well. The pastors are saying we need our people to be talking about these things so that we're not, because pastors often spend time with these people when they're having those emergency situations, and then they realize that the families have never had the conversation. And so it's really important for them to be doing that.
Michael?
Yeah, so you want to know, well, why should I do this? Well, I mean, I'm only 50. I mean, you're a child.
Well, I'm getting no.
But it's, and I'll tell you why it's important, and I can give you some comments from my own personal experience as a physician, in which, let's say you're dad, and you have this family, and they all love you, and all of a sudden you get sick. And people gather around and they're trying to figure out, well, how do we take care of Dad? What do we do? And your children gather, and loved ones and people who've taken care of you, they all come together in the room. They may have come from across the country to see, well, what are we going to do about Dad? And half the people in the room say, Dad's a fighter. Dad, we need to do everything we can. The sky's the limit. We'll just do this. The other half of the room said, look, I know Dad. He's had a great life. It's really time. Let's make him comfortable. Let's make his last days fine. Let's don't just keep treating him. And so sooner or later, a decision gets made, but one of the problems is there's a voice missing from the conversation, and that's Dad's voice, because you're sick in the bed somewhere. You're not in the room. Your voice is not in the room. So if there's an advance directive, if you've made it clear what you want and what your goals are, it makes it much easier on your family, because a decision's going to get made. In my experience, a lot of times.
What type of things happen when I mean, you guys have been around these situations, I'm sure, where people are going through. I mean, and what type of things happen in the rooms that people people watching may not be expecting to happen?
Well, and that's the point, is that a decision gets made. I mean, obviously a decision gets made, but it's very often not unanimous. Some of your family may think this decision should have been made, and some of your family may think this decision should have been made, and they begin to resent each other and have hard feelings against each other because they think they know what you wanted because you didn't make it clear what you wanted. And so what happens, instead of them devoting their energy to taking care of you and loving you and making doing the best for you, they've spent a lot of energy with each other, and sort of it can divide families. So that's why we call an advance directive really a gift from you to your family. Lets them avoid that and lets them focus their energy on taking care of you and loving you and preparing for whatever is coming up.
Susan, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, we want to educate the whole community about this and have everybody understand why it's important. And so the other part of our gift is that we are planning an event for March 31st at the Avalon Theater, 6 p.m. We're bringing Dr. Angelo Volandis to speak to the community, and it's a free event.
Yeah, Dr. Volandis is a physician at Harvard who is very passionate about this topic. He's written a book called The Conversation, A Revolutionary Plan for End-of-Life Care, and he'll present at the Avalon. It's free and open to the public. We do ask for people to register because we want to make sure everybody has a seat. But what he talks about and why this is revolutionary is that the whole idea is to put the patient in control. And that very often is not how patients find themselves in the healthcare system. Very often they feel out of control and not in control of things that are happening. And this revolutionary plan is say, no, you're in control. What do you want? What are your goals and values? And Lisa can talk about how we sit down and talk to patients and their families about how to go about making their wishes known.
Lisa, yeah, I mean, what type of things? I'm imagining a book on end of life, and I'm wondering how thick is the book? I mean, how much, that sort of thing.
The important thing to know in the state of Maryland is that there are 3 documents that we really need in order to express our wishes, and having a conversation as we develop those documents and after we've developed them with our family members and doctors is critical. But those 3 things are a Maryland Advance Directive, which is a form that's available off of the Attorney General's website, and we have them available for people as well, which allows you to pick someone or a group of people who will be a representative, a spokesperson for us if there comes a time when we couldn't speak for ourselves. And what we want ideally is someone who accepts our wishes and understands and feels capable of standing up for what it is that you or I would say that we want in terms of care at end of life. When we make that healthcare power of attorney form, that part of the advance directive, then we have a spokesperson who's recognized by law. The second part of an advance directive is typically called a living will, and that's the part that for the spokesperson defines what we would want if we were very close to death in several different conditions. The third document is one that's new in the last few years and different, also created by the Attorney General's office, which is called a medical order for life-sustaining treatment. That document is an actual medical prescription or medical order, which means that in hospitals, nursing facilities, wherever there's a medical professional, EMS, 911, those personnel can follow this medical order written by our doctor with our participation, so that there's no question about our spokesperson's right to represent us.
Right. So you're signing a piece of paper that gives you basically a power of attorney over your health, and then another document that says this is a living will, and then a third document which lets the medics follow whatever those documents sort of say.
Yes, the horrible thing that happens that we run into is that people have done just the first two, the legal documents that give the right to someone to speak for us, but when they arrive at the hospital, the medical dilemma isn't very clear, and the medical personnel say, well, that's not enough. Those documents aren't what we need right now, and they proceed with what they think is best without input from us or from our family. So the Maryland Order for Life-Sustaining Treatment changes all that, because we've had the discussion with our doctor about what choices we would want in an emergency, and that document rules the day.
Okay. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back with the folks from Talbot Hospice to talk about their event. Was it March
31st,
March 31st.
Thursday.
It is a free event, and so we'll be right back to talk about that in just a few more minutes. Hi, welcome back. Once again, we are in the basement of the Avalon Theater MCTV Channel 15 studios, and we're talking with the members and supporters of Talbot Hospice about an event that they have coming up on March 31st inside the Avalon Theater. It's a free event, and it is about end-of-life decisions and how to manage those and take care of those so you don't run into problems when things aren't going so well. So I know, Jody, we were talking, you are the chaplain for Talbot Hospice. Yes. Again, what type of things do you see in your work there in terms of how it relates to this conversation? And you're trying to get out to the other churches and parishes to let them know about this event and this initiative as well?
Well, one of the things that by the time people get to us on hospice, they've talked with Lisa, and usually they have all of those things in place for end of life. But one of the things that I end up working with people is that other step of what kinds of things would you want to celebrate your life after you're gone? What would you want your family to do? And so we have those kind of conversations as well. So that can be a part of what people talk about, not just the health care agent and what they want when emergencies happen, but also what do you want? How do you want people to talk about you? Because they will talk about you after you die. So how do you want to give some structure to that? So we talk about that. But
does anybody say anything kind of like, well, I want to make sure we get this in, like funny, or like, can you tell jokes sort of post-mortem, that sort of thing?
You know, I talk about it as being kind of the last thing that you can say to your family.
Right, yeah. I mean, who doesn't want that?
That's right. Exactly. Your last word. So that's one of the things I talk to families about. It's really, I think, having these conversations helps to preserve the relationships that you have. And hopefully with what I've been calling them is really sacred conversations, because you're really getting a little deeper with your family members than maybe you have for a long time. And you're talking about things that are really difficult. And so it brings up a lot of emotion, and people are really kind of thinking about all these different things. And so it kind of brings back kind of, I think, a bond in that relationship. And it's important that we think about it as, what kind of legacy do we want to leave?
Right.
Do we want our family members to be fighting after we leave, or during the time that we're sick? No, we really don't want that. I think most people would agree that we don't want that. And so how do we then, by giving the gift to our family, having them understand what our wishes are, how that really does enable our families to be able to move forward in this process and not get stuck. And then after we die, they can still continue to have those relationships and build on that.
And you're trying to bring that message to churches.
To the churches too. So one of the things we found out, Tim, during our initial calling of 13 churches is what we have that we're working with at this time, was the pastors were talking about how the end-of-life decision-making piece is a really important part that doesn't happen. And oftentimes the pastors get stuck in the middle of something like this, and they had no idea that their parishioners didn't have their advance directives completed.
Right.
And so that was kind of what pushed us, as well as our whole initiative as Talbot Hospice, to really talk about it and really get the message out there that it is important and it is a gift to your family.
Right. Michael, you have anything to add to that as far as the medical exam?
Well, I think that getting into the conversation, you've asked me as medical director, it's not a medical conversation. This is really not a medical event. It's a life event. And you start the conversation not by talking about tubes and intensive care units. You start the conversation by saying, what do you like? What do you value the most? Where do you want to be? Well, gee, I'd like to be sitting in my living room looking out the window at the osprey nest because they're getting ready to come back. That's what I value. That brings me, joy. And you start that conversation, and it builds about, well, then, so if this happens, so this is what I want to have happen. It's a life event. It's not a medical event. We've medicalized this.
Right,
so
right.
That's why it's really turns out to be an easier conversation.
What's
to
kind of
have than it
funny you
seems.
talk about, because when my father passed away, he loved sitting on the porch. And he was dying of cancer, and we had a hospice coming in, and the whole family was there. And I wanted to sit him on the porch. And had he said that in a document, that would have been a lot easier for us to take care of, because the family did. We didn't fight about it, but they were like, no, he doesn't want to get up, and I it's a tough situation, and so talking about that did bring back a memory. Lisa, you have anything to add as far as what? Well, I guess they come in and talk to you. They set this up through you.
Every second Tuesday of each month, people can sign up to, or walk in, but it'd be great if they could sign up by calling 822-6681 for a free assistance to go through understanding what the documents are, and also some education about what kinds of choices and the implications of quality of life on quality of life might be, so that we have enough information as citizens, as human beings, to discuss that kind of thing with our doctor and our families, to explain what our wishes and values are.
Right. Okay.
So every second Tuesday.
Every
each
second
month,
Tuesday of the month, you can stop by the hospice office, which is where?
on 586 Sinwood, right off of Idlewild,
Okay.
over by Hill's Drugs, big new drugstore.
Right. Okay. And then, getting back to the event, Susan, we wanted to talk about, you've got some people that are champions of this event, and
Yes, we do. We have a number of groups in town who have joined with us to be our champions for this event. And in order to be a champion, all you have to do is say that you will invite people to attend the event, and you will encourage other people that you know or people in your organization to complete an advance directive, and Talbot Hospice can help with that. So we now have a number of champions. The Commission on Aging was our first champion, the Talbot Town Council, the Midshore Pro Bono Organization, the News Center, Home Instead, Consul Pharmaceuticals, London Dairy, Eastern Rotary, Anderson Wealth Management, and Sharon Ritter Beal, Esquire. But anyone can be a champion, so if anybody out there is interested in having their group join us in this initiative, we'd love to have you.
MCTV should be a champion.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Thank you. Thank you for offering before I had to ask you. That's great. We are also distributing pledge forms to everyone. We're asking everyone to complete a pledge form so that we can get an idea of how many people in Talbot County have done this, filled out this advance directive paperwork. And the pledge form just simply says, I agree within the next year to have a conversation about my end-of-life wishes with somebody that I love. I agree to complete my advance directive paperwork, and I agree to tell someone else about this and encourage them to do the same thing.
Right. Okay. And then getting back to getting back to the event, which is what we really want people to come. Now, I imagine with it being a sort of down subject. I mean, it's not. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it is in most people's minds. This gentleman is probably entertaining to some.
He's very passionate, very articulate, very passionate. He's posted talks on YouTube. I mean, he's
Nationally known.
younger than
yes.
Nationally known. Yeah.
nationally known. He's written this book. It's on in the healthcare sort of arena. He's sold a lot of these books, but very articulate, very passionate speaker.
I know we've had. The reason I ask is we've had events here before where the subject has been rather serious, and usually the speakers find a way to sort of like over the course of to gain laughter and gain. So you're kind of like. They're very good. They're very good at it. The things I've seen the hospice bringing here before.
This will be an engaging event, but one of the things we've found out as we've gone around to talk to groups is the intense level of interest. People want to hear about this. They ask questions at the end of our presentations over and over. There's a lot of interest about this. We're not talking about.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean.
And Jody's got a good comments about the relief that people feel, even though it's a difficult subject.
What's that, Jody?
Well, it's just amazing how people go, oh, I'm so glad we're finally talking about this. And, it's...
And you've said that we often fear that if we talk about the end of our lives, that tomorrow we're going to die.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But any of us could die tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
It could happen any second. I mean,
That's right.
I mean, it really could. I mean, it's and again, for the younger viewers watching, I know this makes probably absolutely no sense because it didn't make any sense to me at all either. Even up until a few years ago, it didn't make much sense because you do have this sense of immortality, which is probably in our DNA probably good for us, because I don't think that you could live your whole life worried about whether you were going to die, every second of it. We probably wouldn't live that long.
So getting that out of the way, letting people in our families and our doctors know, gives a sense of relief. We've got that.
Then you can just
done,
live.
and we can live.
That's right.
And we say it's never too soon to do this, and it's often too late. If you wait too long, you might not ever get to it.
Right. Well, again, if it's something that Talbot Hospice is doing, then everyone in the county really knows that it's worth it because it is such a respected and such a good organization. So again, I want to have we're going to take a look at the center camera here, and whoever wants to speak, just let the public know when the event is, maybe why they should come, where they can find out more information, and you guys can all chime in. Just go ahead, whoever wants to have a shot at it.
The event, Dr. Volandes is speaking at the Avalon Theater on Thursday, March 31st. It's 6 p.m. This is a free event, open to the public. We ask everyone to register. It's important to register to make sure you have a seat when you get here. But we would love for you to come. You can register by calling Talbot Hospice 410-822-6681 or by going on our website, talbothospice.org.
Anything else?
Come find out how we can each be in charge of our destiny.
Good, Michael?
Yeah, we think it may be the most important conversation you ever have.
And it's important, if you can, to read the book before you come so that you can just already be started with that conversation.
Okay. And again, it's March 31st. It's Talbot Hospice. What's the name of the doctor's name again, Susan?
Dr. Angelo Volandes.
Dr. Angelo Volandes. They would like you to register and do so at Talbot.
Talbot Hospice.
TalbotHospice.org. They would like you to register. I guess we wanted to say, if you don't register, you can still come. Is that correct?
We're not going to turn anybody away.
You're not going to turn anybody away.
Hopefully
but
we'll
please
have,
try to register. Yeah. But if it's something that you can't get to, the event is still free. But they would like to know how many people are.
Yeah, we have a lot of interest in it. It's filling up.
They usually do fill up. They usually do sell these to the roof here at the theater. So that's why you want to maybe register. Thank you, folks, very much for coming by.
Thank you.
And we appreciate it. Again, Talbot Hospice, March 31st, upstairs at the Avalon Theater. They're talking about your end-of-life decisions, which are very important. Thank you guys very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.